Hello, all my loves out there. So for those who don't know, I had made a Spotify channel and a YouTube channel and had called it Bottoms Up. And where I got that message from is basically I am going to call you guys my bottoms up babes, and then I will be your portender. And basically, what I plan to do is take the messiness of life, mix it up, and make a message and serve it to you straight. So, weekly, I will give you messages that have been throughout my life and with my life coaching certification and background, and then make messages and deliver them to you guys with just the messiness of life, because let's face it, nobody out there is perfect and life is just a mess and we're all just kind of winging it, right? So today's message, I wanted to touch base in regards to childhood and into adulthood, and how things that, even though if we brush them under the carpet or under the rug or whatever you want to call it, or put it behind us, or maybe it's not even in our present life, if they are situations that cause trauma or were detrimental to your mental growing, it will affect you now in the adult life, even if you decided to put it behind you, or you're not in that situation anymore and you just kind of brushed it away. If you didn't heal, and I use those words heal kind of lightly, because a lot of people hear the word heal and they like run. What I mean is that if you don't address the situations, if you don't feel how you physically felt throughout that and move through the process and the motions of how to overcome that, you will carry that baggage and that burden with you, even if you don't even realize that you do. So let's get started. Okay, as a child, and I've shared this with many of you, and in case you haven't caught those posts, I will share it again. I come from a childhood of childhood abuse. It was from a stepfather that I no longer have, that has not been in my life for 30 years now. However, when that situation occurred, my family and I, we did not do any counseling, things like that, because it did end in a divorce, and the whole situation was obviously them broken apart, and I never had that childhood abuse follow me throughout my childhood and growing up and into my adulthood. But I never addressed those situations because the situation basically ended. So I never went through like therapy or deep counseling or anything in that nature, because it was just that we were taken out of the situation, put into a healthy situation, and that was that. It was never really talked about anymore. Now, being that in my growing years, until I got the help of the removal of that situation, I was seeing what love is not and not what love is. So in my mind, it was like training me to know that toxicity, abuse, in heightened feelings, feeling on edge, any of those words that you want to use, that was love to me. So that constant attention, that constant bickering, fighting, arguing, calling bad words and names, and just that intense situation, that is what I knew as love, because that was my parent role in my life. Now let's go into adulthood. Now, as I started dating and getting into the dating world of life, I would always entertain toxic situations, because as a child, I saw what love is not. I craved that love and attention and affection and that companionship and that compassion within myself. So because of the feeling that I felt and the pain that I felt as a child, I never wanted to be the monster that my abuser was, and I never wanted to experience the pain and suffering and the hurt that was done to my family and I from the abuser. So I always overly loved. I always wanted to pour out that love to other people, because I knew what that pain felt like, and I never wanted another individual to feel that pain that I had felt. Well, because of that, my mentality would always crave and be interested in the toxic people. So the people that were in situations that had trouble or, failure or loss or whatever the case may be, those were the people that I was attracted to, because I wanted to basically be the savior and the healer and the helper and cure their pain and suffering. But you see, realistically, that was unhealthy. I was going into a situation already at the back end versus the front end, and here I'm craving a love that they cannot give because they're hurting too and they're in pain too. And now I'm basically just going into that trying to be the healer when I'm not even really technically healing myself. And that's what I should have been doing, is giving that love and affection to myself. But I didn't know how because I wasn't shown that as a child. So without confronting that past, I was wanting a love and a companionship and craving that, yet I was going for individuals that couldn't give that. So therefore, it was already a doomed situation from the beginning because neither of us had what I wanted, or the other person wanted or needed in their life. And then if that individual who is struggling and whatnot, if they don't address their things, they're just looking for someone to fix what they have. And then obviously if you fix that situation for them, or maybe you did bring you guys up to float, all of a sudden they don't have that toxicity and that craziness that they're in heightened to. So then you become boring to them because obviously they're craving that constant toxicity. And that's where then you're discarded. You're cheated on, you're this, you're that, and then you're wondering, well, why am I not good enough? What's going on here? It's because they are addicted to the enhancement and enlightenment and whatever words you want to use, the toxicity, the craziness, whatever words. But so now you become boring to them. So until they fix that trauma in themselves, you fix this trauma in yourself, and you realize that you were shown what love is not and not what love is. It's just a rolling snowball effect of emotions and individuals getting together. Things change for a little bit, and then it always will fall apart because it's a toxic situation. And without a solid foundation, you can't build an empire or a home or whatever you want to say on a rocky foundation, because eventually it will fall. And it's the same thing with scenarios with relationships. And that's why in this dating world right now, so many relationships are just so toxic and crazy and so forth, because all of us, as life goes on, we have more baggage, more weight and so forth. And if we don't heal that inside of us, and if we don't see what the problem is, how can we find a solution, how could we fix that, all we're doing is carrying that weight onto another person. And that individual, sure, they may be able to carry the weight for a little bit, but eventually it gets heavy for them too. So it's just a constant rolling ball of failure. I mean, that's the only words that I could put into it. Now let me speak this in logical terms. So I made this analogy for you. So dog A and dog B, they're both puppies. Dog A is potty trained to go into a crate. Dog B is potty trained to go outside. Both dogs, they're both dogs, both use the bathroom as they're both potty trained too. They both obey their owners. They're both phenomenal dogs. And it doesn't matter their breed, because one's just basically trained to go into the bathroom in a crate and one is trained to go outside. Now, if you took dog A and you brought it to dog B's house, and all of a sudden dog A starts going to the bathroom in the middle of the living room, that doesn't make dog A a bad person, or that doesn't make dog A someone that doesn't listen to their owner. Basically what it is dog A is looking for a crate at dog B's house, but yet they don't know where the crate is, so they have a bathroom, they use the bathroom in the living room. But that's because they were never trained or shown or known that you can go outside and use the bathroom. So this is the same way with relationships. If you're sitting there and you keep fighting with each other and you're saying, you don't treat me right, you're not doing X, Y, and Z, and that makes me feel good, or maybe even opposite, that you're doing this and it hurts my feelings, and you're not doing, showing me this emotion. Love language comes in so many different forms. For me, I am one that I am a affectionate person. So acts of kindness and things, those read my soul. I incorporate someone that is does actions versus words. Now, for some people, words of affection is their love language, and they want to be told all day how wonderful they are, how great they are, and so forth. But for me, words do nothing. So I wouldn't be able to read your love because I have never, I come from the toxicity life, and so I always heard the bad things that people called one another. So when people say good things, it's even hard for me to take compliments from individuals just because that wasn't how I was raised, or that's not how I understood love. It doesn't make me a bad person. And this is the same thing with your spouse or your significant other, or maybe you're in a toxic relationship right now. Just because you two don't see eye to eye, or one is understanding love in a different language, that doesn't mean that they aren't normal or they're a bad person, or that you have to degrade them, or fall into that toxic cycle. It's just that you were raised differently, you don't understand, and you don't speak the same love language. There's a saying that goes, different strokes for different folks, and that's just it. Maybe it's just time for you to realize that you guys are different strokes for different folks, and it's time to move on. If you cannot do the healing within yourself, or you can't address situations, or maybe even it's your spouse or significant other or someone that you're dating, and maybe they're not willing to do the changes or see the inner side of themselves, it's just going to be a vicious cycle of over and over and over again of things not working out and toxicity. And I will say this too, abuse is not just physical. Abuse is mental, emotional, verbal. So if you are being degraded, talked down to, made fun of, put down, whatever words you want to use, if you are in that, that is abuse. So I highly suggest that you start looking at different avenues. And trust me, I know we don't get married to get divorced. I'm not sitting here saying and condoning that divorce is, something you just need to do. But realistically, if it's become toxic and it's become in a situation of the such, I really think that it's healthy for you to start seeing that your worth and value are worth more. And for those that stay in these relationships and say that they're doing it for their children, I please, I say this with the most begful plead to you, please do not keep your children in that situation, because what you're doing is exactly what was done to me. You are showing your kids what love is not, and not what love is. They see that toxicity, they know that toxicity, and for those that are mothers out there, we each have shared the same heartbeat at one point in time with our children. So you don't have to say anything. You can walk in a room and your children will know right away that you're happy, sad, glad, mad, whatever. So keeping them in these toxic situations and these unhealthy situations, you're just raising them to know what love is not. And so what they're going to do is, as they get older, they are going to crave and they are going to look for that same toxic cycle, because that is what they know love is. So I hope today's message made some clarity for some individuals. You're always more than welcome to message me and check out my Spotify and my YouTube channel, and these messages will be on there as well. Peace, love, and happiness to all. Thank you.